Nice launch trajectory and countdown net. Pad is clear.
10, 9, 8.
Launch auto sequence has started.
6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1.
Go for launch.
Vehicle is supersonic.
Stage separation confirmed. Dragon, separation confirmed. stage 1 is transonic. Landing legs have deployed. And Falcon 9 has landed.
You're currently looking at a live view of the Falcon 9 set to lift off at 11:48 p.m. Pacific time from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base. Hello, everyone, and thanks for joining us once again for our coverage of the Transporter-7 mission. Yesterday, we had to stand down from our launch attempt due to unfavorable weather, but it's looking much better tonight with less than 5% probability of violation. In case you forgot, I'm Jessie Anderson. I'm joining you from SpaceX headquarters in Hawthorne, California, just a few hours south of our launch site. Now tonight, we are launching SpaceX's 7th dedicated smallsat rideshare program mission, which marks our 24th launch for this year and 224th mission of all time. Now on this flight are 51 spacecraft, including CubeSats, MicroSats, hosted payloads, and orbital transfer vehicles carrying spacecraft to be deployed at a later time. There will be a total of 36 deployments made between 2 deployment sequences. The first deployment sequence will begin around the T+1 hour mark and will last approximately 20 minutes. Now, we are expecting to lose ground station coverage partway through the first deployment sequence, so only a few of our deployments will be visible today. However, when we're back in range of ground stations, we do expect to have telemetry and hear audio confirmation over the nets. The second and last deployment will happen at the T+2 hour and 35-minute mark after additional second stage burns. At T-10 minutes and about 30 seconds from liftoff, the vehicle is healthy, and we're currently working no issues and looking good for an on-time liftoff tonight. Weather is green, the range is ready to support our T0 of 11:48 p.m. Pacific time. If for some reason we do not launch today, we do have another opportunity tomorrow at the same time.
Good evening. I'm Somi Srivastava, a structures engineer here at SpaceX. And on your screen is a live view of the Falcon 9, which is a reusable 2-stage rocket, which rolled out to the pad and went vertical very early yesterday morning. Starting from the bottom of the rocket, we have our 9 M1D engines connected to the first stage. These 9 Merlin engines help accelerate the vehicle through the thickest part of the Earth's atmosphere and into space. These engines are connected to the largest part of the vehicle, or the first stage, which is referred to as the booster. The first stage supporting our mission tonight is flying for its 10th time tonight, having previously launched Sentinel-6 Michael Freilich, DART, and 7 Starlink missions. Above the first stage is the second stage, which has a single Merlin vacuum, or MVAC engine, which ignites after the first stage separates. The second stage is what will carry our 51 spacecraft to their intended orbits in space. During today's mission, you will notice a shorter nozzle extension attached to our MVAC engine. And going forward, our teams plan to use this shorter nozzle when we don't need as much performance to get the payload to its final destination. But don't worry, the larger nozzles that you're so used to seeing are not going away forever, and we will still fly the full-sized MVAC nozzles on missions that require a more significant amount of thrust from stage 2 or ones that contain a heavier payload. So keep an eye out for that view after stage separation. And at the very top of the rocket, you'll notice the large structure with the pointed nose at the top of the second stage, and that is our payload fairing. Fairing is made up of 2 carbon composite halves and protects the payload on their way to orbit and will be jettisoned around 3 minutes into flight. The rideshare payloads are currently safely enclosed inside of the 17-foot diameter fairing, with each half flying today being flight proven. One half is flying for the 2nd time and the other a 5th time.
Speaking of payloads, on board the Falcon 9 today, we have a main payload located at the top of the stack for our customer, Tubitaku Zai. The Imedja spacecraft is the 4th satellite manufactured by Tubitaku Zai, which is the space branch for the Scientific and Technological Research Council of Turkey. Imedja in Turkish means collaboration or collective work, as it was a project that was worked on by several institutions and holds great significance in the Turkish culture. With that, here's a video highlighting our main payload. Our goal with these missions is to provide small satellite operators competitive pricing, increased flight opportunities, and flexibility. We're flying some really cool payloads on this mission, including several different types of Earth observation spacecraft, collecting greenhouse gas emission data, hyperspectral imaging, student research projects, and orbit-changing vehicles. It's pretty incredible how even the smallest satellites can make meaningful contributions to take care of planet Earth and our efforts to visit other worlds. We're looking forward to providing a great ride to space for these 51 payloads on board today in just a few minutes from now.
We're currently T-minus 4 minutes and 50 seconds from liftoff, and on your screen is the payload fairing and the second stage. In about 40 seconds, we should see the TE clamp arms, which are right below the fairing, open up in preparation for the strongback to retract slightly away from the rocket until the hydraulics pull the TE even further away from Falcon 9 at T0 as it lifts off the pad. The TE, or transporter-rector, is the structure that provides liquids, gases, electrical connections to the second stage, as well as air conditioning to the payload fairing. At this point, both the first and second stages are nearly fully loaded with 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen at around T-minus 3 minutes when we will hear the call out for liquid oxygen load completion on stage 1, and around T-minus 2 minutes when we hear the call out for liquid oxygen load completion on stage 2. It is a bit cloudy, but the clamp arms have begun to open, and the strongback is beginning to recline away from the vehicle. And we should be hearing the call out for liquid oxygen load completion coming up on the first stage in about 17 seconds from now. And then at the T-minus 2 minute mark, we should hear that same call out for stage 2.
Stage 1 lock load complete.
And there's that call out right there for liquid oxygen load completion on stage 1.
Now, the next event coming up will be at the T-minus 2 minute mark, and that's when prop loading will complete on second stage, and that will conclude prop loading for Falcon 9. At that point, we will have 1 million pounds of kerosene fuel and liquid oxygen on the vehicle. That event is coming up here in just about 20 seconds. Currently just waiting for the call out for liquid oxygen loading conclusion on second stage.
Stage 2 lock load complete.
And perfect timing, there's that call out. Now that we're done loading prop onto the vehicle, we will begin to vent out the liquid oxygen line on the transporter-rector, and there you can see there's a better view, that venting happening there from the TE. Next up will be Falcon 9 in startup at the T-minus 1 minute mark. That's where the internal flight computers take over the launch countdown. This vehicle is autonomous, so starting at the T-minus 1 minute mark, the vehicle will be fully autonomous through the mission. We will also begin to pressurize the vehicles for launch at the T-minus 1 minute mark.
Falcon 9 is in startup.
And great call out. Now just waiting for the final call from the launch director.
LD is go for launch.
Great news. All systems are go for launch of Falcon 9 with all 51 payloads on Transporter-7.
T-minus 30 seconds. Seconds. T-minus 10, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Ignition. Engines full power. And liftoff of Transporter-7. Go Falcon, go Transporter.
Vehicle's pitching downrange.
Stage 1 propulsion nominal.
T plus 30 seconds into flight, and Falcon 9 has cleared the tower at Space Launch Complex 4 East. We're currently throttling down the engines in preparation for Max Q. Max Q is the maximum
Nominal power and telemetry.
Max Q is the maximum aerodynamic pressure that the vehicle will see on ascent. That's the largest structural load on the vehicle.
Falcon 9 is supersonic.
Good call outs there, and we are coming up on Max Q in just a few seconds from now.
Max Q.
Great news, we've passed through Max Q. Now with that, we do have a few events coming up here back to back. That will be MECO stage separation, stage 1 flip, SES-1.
MVAC chill has started.
And the start of the boost back burn. Now MECO is main engine cutoff. That's where we will shut down all of those engines that you are seeing lit up on your screen. That will help slow the vehicle down in preparation for stage separation. Stage 1 will begin to make its journey back to Earth with stage 1 flip and the boost back burn. And the second stage will ignite the MVAC engine for the first time with SES-1, or second stage engine start 1. And as a reminder, once we have stage separation, we should be able to see the shorter nozzle in there. You can actually see it on your screen. Again, we are flying a shorter nozzle for this mission. And you can see it there on your screen, and we are preparing for a few events coming up. MECO stage separation, S1 flip, or stage 1 flip, SES-1, and the boost back burn on the first stage.
MECO.
Stage separation confirmed.
MVAC ignition.
Stage 1 boost back startup.
And incredible views there. We've had MECO stage separation. The first stage vehicle has performed its flip maneuver and has started up its boost back burn. And on your right-hand screen, what an incredible view. You could see the shorter MVAC nozzle there, and that MVAC engine burning extremely bright on the screen. And we are coming up on fairing separation.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Perfect timing. You saw the fairing halves separating from the second stage. As they make their way back down to Earth, we will attempt to recover them. And again, just incredible views on your screen. On the left-hand side, you can see the boost back burn for the first stage vehicle.
Stage 1 boost back shut down.
And great call out. That concludes the boost back burn of the first stage as you saw that engine shut down. And on your right-hand screen, that MVAC engine is still burning bright. Now the next major milestone coming up will be the entry burn on the first stage, which is scheduled to occur around the T plus 6 minute mark.
We're currently in our first of 4 MVAC burns, and this burn should last until about T plus 8 minutes and 19 seconds. And as Jesse mentioned, the next milestone will be the first stage entry burn, which is coming up in about 2 minutes from now. For today's mission, unlike typical Falcon 9 missions, we'll be performing a single engine entry burn and a 3-engine landing burn on the first stage after stage separation. This is due to the change of the second stage engine performance with the shorter nozzle that you can see right there on your screen. So switching up the number of engines we light up during these 2 milestones on the booster during descent will allow us to more efficiently land on LZ-4. We have performed similar types of burns previously, most commonly on Falcon Heavy side boosters. This will, however, be the first Falcon 9 first stage to perform these burns with this changed engine configuration
Nominal trajectory.
To land back on land. You heard that good call out that they are on a nominal trajectory. But be sure to keep an eye out during both entry and landing burn to see if you can see the difference based on how many engines are lit up. We should be hearing the call out for entry burn on stage 1 in about 20 seconds from now, where engine 9 will relight.
Stage 1 entry burn startup.
There's that call out. You can see that engine 9 has relit for entry burn.
Stage 1 entry burn shutdown.
And we have had
Stage 1 FTS is saved.
And we have had a successful entry burn. As I mentioned earlier, we will be attempting to recover this booster for the 10th time today and are targeting a land landing on LZ-4, which is not too far from the launch pad. The first stage has one more burn left, which is the landing burn. During landing burn, 3 of the Merlin engines will relight, engines 1, 5, and 9, to produce enough thrust.
Stage 1 transonic.
To produce enough thrust to slow down Falcon right before touchdown.
Stage 1 landing burn.
Great call out there. That landing burn has begun. You can see it right there.
Landing led deploy. Stage 1 landing confirmed.
And as you saw and probably heard, we had a successful first stage landing at landing zone 4. Successful cutoff.
Stage 2 FTS is saved.
Today's landing marks this booster's 10th landing and our 185th overall landing of an orbital class rocket. Next up, we are expecting the shutdown of the second stage MVAC engine.
MVAC shutdown.
And there it is, right on time. Coming up next, we have the second burn of our MVAC.
Nominal parking orbit.
We have the second burn of our MVAC engine on board the second stage around the T+57 minute mark. We'll be back in about 45 minutes to bring you live coverage of SES-2, followed shortly after by the first 35 payload deployments. Enjoy the tunes, and we'll see you soon.
We could lost the signal, Vandy.
Precisely kind of information do you want?
And TNOC SpaceX, feel free if we need to revert over to the file first and then switch back to slave tracking. Acquisition signal Mauritius. Acquisition of signal HPK.
First rocket is then dropped its fuel exhausted. The second rocket ignites and takes off. Second rocket burns up. The third and last one takes over. Final thrust that carries the satellite into its goal.
Acquisition of signal, Melindy.
Welcome back to our coverage of the Transporter-7 mission. So far, we have had an excellent mission. We had an on-time liftoff at 11:48 p.m. Pacific time. We recovered our first stage vehicle at landing zone 4, and we completed the first of 4 second stage burns. Now we are just about 10 seconds away from the relight of our MVAC engine. This will be a quick 2 to 3 second burn, and we will have immediate shutdown of that MVAC engine after that few second burn.
MVAC ignition. And shutdown.
There it was, very quick. Just waiting for confirmation.
Expected loss of signal, Mauritius, HPK.
And sounds like we had an expected loss of signal, but we did have a good SES-2.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And there's that call out that we were looking for. We had a successful SES-2 and SECO-2, quick 2 second burn and confirmation of good orbit. So it looks like we are on track for payload deployments to start in just about 3 minutes.
As a reminder, there will be a total of 36 deployments with 2 deployment sequences. The first sequence will have 35 deployments, and the second will deploy our last payload for this mission. If you're not familiar, our transporter missions are dedicated rideshare flights, and SpaceX is targeting at least 3 rideshare missions, 2 sun-synchronous orbit per year, in addition to opportunities for a ride to orbit on our Starlink missions, which launch about once a week. There are always some really neat payloads flying on transporter missions, and today's mission is no different. Of the 51 payloads on board the second stage today, we have several different types of Earth observation spacecraft collecting greenhouse gas emissions data, hyperspectral imaging, student research projects, and orbit-changing vehicles. We are about 2.5 minutes out from the start of the first set of deployments, and as a reminder, we'll only have partial ground station coverage for this deployment sequence. Ground stations are how we get live camera views and telemetry, so only some of our deployments will be visible today. It's also worth mentioning that because many of our spacecraft are being deployed in groups or quick succession, we may not be able to confirm every deployment in real time. You should hear most of the deployments called out by our mission control operators, but if some are missed, we will try to provide updates for any we don't hear in real time by the close of the webcast. We do have a full list of payloads along on SpaceX.com if you'd like to follow along. The deployment sequence should begin in about 30 seconds.
As a reminder, there are a total of 51 spacecraft that will separate from the second stage between 36 deployments. In this first set, we're scheduled to have 35 deployments, but due to lack of ground station coverage, we're anticipating seeing or hearing confirmation of 21 deployments in the next 8 minutes. We'll take a break during the blackout period and confirm the 6 payloads scheduled to deploy during this period of no ground station coverage. And once we regain coverage, we'll move forward with the final 8 deployments in this first set. Now, if you're interested in viewing the full list of deployments, head over to SpaceX.com.
Mainland separation confirmed.
And we have begun the deployments for this sequence.
SSS-2B separation confirmed. OCN separation confirmed. DWASAT-2 separation confirmed. CubeSat separation confirmed. Orb Astro AF1 separation confirmed. Bro 9 separation confirmed.
I can send a signal, do I?
Lemur 2 on reflection separation confirmed. Gaspar separation confirmed.
That confirms 9 total deployments so far, and we were able to see one of them there on your screen live. Also, very cool view. We are looking forward at the payload with Earth in the background.
Typho 1 separation confirmed. Connecta T2.1 separation confirmed. Sapling separation confirmed. LS2F separation confirmed. FacSat Chiribikite separation confirmed.
Rosie CubeSat 1 and InspireSat separation confirmed. Pleiades Yearling separation confirmed.
Another 7 deployments have been confirmed so far for a total of 16 deployments. We are currently in the first deployment sequence, and we have a total of 21 deployments in this sequence. Again, 16 deployments confirmed so far. We actually have 21 deployments that we will hear with ground station coverage, and a total of 35 deployments in this sequence.
It's about time. Separation confirmed. Serbi separation confirmed.
Another 2 deployments have been confirmed. That is a total of 18 deployments confirmed so far. Again, we are expected to lose ground station coverage after the 21st deployment. Once we regain coverage, we will confirm the deployments that happened during that period.
Satellite 0 separation confirmed. Lemur 2 Space Gus separation confirmed.
An additional 2 more deployments have been confirmed, total of 20 so far. And we are seeing some pretty cool views of Earth there on your screen.
Signal, Melindy.
We are expecting to be able to confirm 1 more additional deployment before we lose ground station coverage. That's coming up here in about 30 seconds. Again, so far we've confirmed 20 deployments for this mission.
Lemur 2, Romeo and Leo, separation confirmed.
And great news with that deployment. That confirms part of the first set of deployments. So far, we've had 21. And we are now entering the blackout period that I mentioned previously. During this time, we are expecting 6 payloads to deploy. This loss of signal will last until around the T+1 hour mark and T+1 hour and 14-minute mark. And we will be back just before then to get confirmation of deployments that occurred during the blackout period, as well as standing by for the final 8 deployments left in the sequence. If for some reason we regain signal earlier, we'll bring you live coverage as soon as it's available to us. For now, we'll plan to see you back here in about 5 minutes.
Expected loss of signal, Dubai.
Welcome back to the webcast of SpaceX's 7th dedicated smallsat rideshare program mission. We had successful liftoff at 11:48 p.m. Pacific time from Space Launch Complex 4E at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. So far, we have had 21 confirmed separation events and are currently waiting to hear the callouts for another 6, which should have been deployed during a blackout period when we had no access to ground stations. We're also getting ready for the last 8 deployments that are left in this set. If you're interested in viewing the full list of deployments, head over to spacex.com.
6 of 6 payload separations confirmed.
A great call out there. We have confirmation for all 6 payloads being deployed during that blackout period. In about 20 seconds from now, we should have the next set of deployments beginning in this sequence.
Hawk 7C separation confirmed. Tomorrow R1 separation confirmed.
Great call outs there. And an awesome view of the Earth behind our stage 2. We have the next deployments that should be coming up in about 30 seconds.
NORSAT TD separation confirmed.
Great call out there. Another successful deployment.
Acquisition signals forward.
NewSat 39 separation confirmed.
Another great confirmation. You can see that payload drifting away from stage 2.
Ghost 2 separation confirmed. Ion SCV 010 Masterful Mateus separation confirmed.
And with another confirmation of successful deployment, it brings our count to 33 of a total 36 planned for today. Our next deployment is scheduled in a few minutes from now. On your screen is a live view of our second stage. And although you're not currently able to see the other side, we do have the MVAC engine. And earlier today, we debuted our shorter MVAC nozzle. And going forward, our teams plan to use this shorter nozzle when we don't need as much performance to get the payload to its final destination. We will still fly the full-sized MVAC nozzles on missions that require a more significant amount of thrust from stage 2, or ones that contain a heavier payload.
Expected loss of signal, Goonhilly. Acquisition of signal, Thule.
We have an awesome view of the Earth behind our stage 2 on the screen right now. If you're just joining us, we are in the middle of SpaceX's 7th dedicated smallsat rideshare program mission. We had successful liftoff at 11:48 p.m. Pacific time from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California, and a successful landing at Landing Zone 4, which isn't too far from the launch pad. Coming up shortly, we do have a few more deployments in this sequence.
Ghost 1 separation confirmed.
A great call out there. Another confirmed deployment. We do have one more deployment left in this set. In about 15 seconds, we should be hearing another confirmation of deployment.
Vigoride separation confirmed.
And with that call out, you could see that confirms all 35 deployments for this set. Coming up next, we have 2 more burns from our second stage before our last payload deployment. We'll relight our second stage engine, the MVAC, a 3rd time at the T+ 1 hour and 46 minute mark. So we'll see you back here in about 23 minutes.
Expected loss of signal, Svalbard. Acquisition of signal, Kodiak. Expected loss of signal, fully. Acquisition signal, Vandy. Expected loss of signal, delete. Expected loss of signal, Kodiak. Access as soon as signal hula. Expected loss of signal, Vandenberg.
Welcome back to our coverage of the Transporter-7 mission. So far, we've had a great mission. We had an on-time liftoff at 11:48 p.m. Pacific time. We recovered our first stage vehicle at landing zone 4, and we've completed 2 of 4 second stage burns left in our mission. Now we are just a few seconds away from SES-3.
And back ignition.
And there it is.
And shutdown.
Very quick 1-second burn there. We just had SES-3 and SECO-3. Just waiting for confirmation of good orbit here.
Looks like we lost the signal, Hula.
Nominal parking orbit.
Awesome, great news there. With confirmation of a good orbit from our 3rd relight and shutdown of our MVAC engine, we're going to coast until our 4th and final burn of the second stage engine around the T+2 hour and 31 minute mark, followed by the last payload deployment for today's mission. Until then, sit back and enjoy the space views.
Acquisition of signal HBK. Acquisition a signal, goodbye.
Hello and welcome back once again for our coverage of the Transporter-7 mission. We have had a great mission so far, and coming up next is our fourth and final burn of our second stage MVAC engine. It's going to be another quick 1-second burn.
Nominal orbit insertion.
And so we saw that we had SES-4 and SECO-4, and good call out there for good orbit. And with confirmation of good orbit, we're coming up on our final payload deployment. The deployment time for the last payload is a bit fluid, but currently scheduled to occur around the T+2 hour and 35-minute mark. If we deploy earlier than that, we'll be sure to provide live views as it becomes available to us. But for now, hopefully you're not sick of these views of space, so we'll see you in a few.
Welcome back to the webcast for Transporter-7, SpaceX's 7th dedicated smallsat rideshare program mission. We had a successful liftoff at 11:48 p.m. Pacific time from Space Launch Complex 4 East at Vandenberg Space Force Base in California. So far, we had 35 confirmed separation events and currently getting ready for the last deployment. As I mentioned a bit earlier, this deployment may happen a bit later than expected, so stick with us. For a full list of deployments, head over to SpaceX.com. And next up, we are awaiting the final deployment of the night.
Second level signal, HPK.
Emiche, separation confirmed.
And there it is. You can see the Medja spacecraft for Tubitak Uzai drifting away from Falcon 9's second stage. And with that confirmation, it brings us to 36 of 36 deployments for this mission. If you're interested, a full listing of today's payloads can be found over at SpaceX.com. We would like to thank all of our rideshare customers for their support on today's mission. Continue to follow us at SpaceX.com, Twitter, and Instagram for updates on future missions and milestones. Thank you to all of our viewers for your continued support, and we'll see you again soon.